Have you ever wished you had a crystal ball for those really big decisions? Well, what if I told you there's a way to kind of weigh your options, to make smarter, more data-driven bets? That's exactly what we're going to break down today. It's called a cost-benefit analysis.
Okay, let's make this real. Imagine this. Your company is looking at a massive new system. It could change everything, but wow, the price tag is huge. And guess what? The boss turns to you for the final call. Is it a go or a no-go? Yikes. Where do you even start with a question like that? All right, so the very first step is to figure out what winning even looks like. Before you even think about costs, you've got to know what you're aiming for. Are we talking about getting information faster, slashing those operating costs, maybe just making customers happier? These aren't just some wish list items, These are the actual benefits that we're going to put on our scale.
So how do you go from this huge, tangled mess of pros and cons, to a clear, logical decision? Well, that is where a cost-benefit analysis, or CBA for short, comes into play. It's the framework that helps you stop relying on just a gut feeling and start making choices backed by actual evidence.
And that brings us right into our first section, the cost-benefit scale. The whole idea is actually pretty simple. You just pile up all the costs on one side, all the benefits on the other, and, well, you see which way the scale tips.
So let's break down these two sides. You've got your costs, and honestly, that's often the easy part to figure out. We're talking about the direct expenses, right? Hardware, personnel, maybe some facility upgrades. Then, on the other side, you've got the benefits. And these are the big picture outcomes we're really chasing. Things like better efficiency, happier customers, and of course, a healthier bottom line.
But here's the thing, and it's super important. You can't just throw all of this stuff into one big pile. To really weigh these things accurately, you've got to sort them out first. We have to categorize them.
And this really gets at the most important distinction of all: tangible versus intangible. Okay, so tangible costs and benefits, they're the easy ones. You can put a nice, clean dollar amount on them, like, say, the cost of a new server. But then you have the intangibles, and that's where it gets tricky. How do you put a price tag on better staff morale or more customer goodwill? It's tough, for sure, but if you ignore them, you're missing a massive piece of the puzzle.
Okay, so you've got everything identified and sorted into piles. Now what? Well, welcome to Section 2, the Analyst Toolkit. Think of this as opening up a toolbox, where we're going to look at 3 different tools you can use to evaluate your project.
First tool in our kit is probably the simplest one: net benefit analysis. The logic here could not be more straightforward. You just add up all your benefits, add up all your costs, and then you subtract the costs from the benefits. Simple as that. If you end up with a positive number, hey, you're in the green.
And here's what that looks like in action. You see that initial investment? It puts you in the red for year 0 and year 1. Yeah, that's the short-term pain. But then, look at year 2. The benefits just explode. And by the end of the whole thing, you've got a positive net benefit of $550. That's the long-term gain we're talking about.
But hang on, there's a catch with this simple method. It totally ignores a really key financial principle: the time value of money. We all know a dollar today is worth more than a dollar tomorrow, right? So to account for that, we're going to need a different tool from our kit. And that brings us to payback analysis. This tool is all about answering the one question every investor asks: when do I get my money back? See, it shifts the focus away from if you'll make a profit to how soon you'll make it back. It calculates the exact point where your benefits finally cover that initial investment. And the goal here is super simple, totally intuitive. The shorter the payback period, the better. It just makes sense, right? A quicker return on your money means less risk for the business and a faster path to seeing actual profit. It just makes the whole thing a much more attractive investment. Now, our third tool, break-even analysis. This one's a little different. It's not comparing the new system's costs to its own benefits. Instead, it compares the cost of the new system to the cost of keeping the old one. It's all about answering the question, when does doing nothing actually start costing you more than making a change?
So this lays out the whole journey perfectly. At first, you've got the investment period. The new system costs more. That makes sense. You're paying for hardware, training, all that stuff. But then you hit that break-even point, and bam, the tables completely turn. From that moment forward, the new system is actually saving you money and giving you way more value than the old one ever could. Now that's the payoff. All right, which brings us to our final section, from data to decision. We've got the tools, we've run the numbers, so now what? How do we use all this stuff to actually make the final call?
And this is maybe the most important thing to remember.
A CBA isn't some magic 8-ball that's going to spit out a simple yes or no for you. No, its real power is that it gives you a disciplined framework. It helps you replace that vague gut feeling with a solid, defensible argument that's actually backed up by data.
So look, if you take just one thing away from all this, let it be this 5-step process. 1. Identify all your costs and benefits. 2. Categorize them. 3. Pick the right tool to evaluate them. 4. Interpret what the results are telling you. And 5, the most important part, take action. That's it. That's the core loop you can use for almost any big decision.
And that really leads us to the final big idea here. A good cost-benefit analysis completely reframes the conversation. You see, the most important question isn't just, what does this new system cost? The real question is, what's the true cost, the ongoing, often hidden cost of doing nothing at all? Because sometimes the biggest risk you can take is just standing still.